Agent 57. What's up, man? Happy Saturday. Hope you are having a fantastic weekend. Yo, hey Chris, what's up, dude? Let's go. Yeah, sorry I am running behind tonight, but I'll explain everything once the stream starts. It's nothing it's nothing bad, it's just there was a lot going on. Heavy, let's go. Hey man. Dude, I'm doing pretty well. I was at a convention this weekend. A board game convention. And it was amazing. And I very badly need some sleep. Hey, that's awesome, Chris. I hope that works out, dude. That'd be pretty cool. All right, we'll give it a couple minutes to get started. I'm actually refreshing myself on what we did last time in Dracarys because stuff happened and I gotta catch y'all up. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, I'm just checking through the back scroll on what was going on here. Awesome. I don't think the line break's gonna work on separate lines, Chris. That'd be funny. Yeah, this was tabletop games. This was the Board Game Geek Convention, which they hold here in Dallas. And one of my very, very good but best longtime buddies goes to it. And so he got me a ticket and said, "You're going to it?" And I said, "Yes, Daddy." So we went and we had an amazing time. Dr. Reiki, what's up, bro? Dang, has it already been that long, man? Dude. I can't believe it's been that long, man. Oh, the timer's up. What am I doing? What am I doing? Hang on. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see which monitor comes up. We're just going to send it. Full send. Let's see. Hey, the correct monitor came up. Awesome. What's up, everybody? Dude, I can't believe it's been 3 months. That's wild, dude. The time has flown by. So, but yeah, I hope you guys are all having a absolutely amazing weekend. I had a really great one. I got to set some backstory for you here. So, what happened was, I was assisting teaching a class for work, and this class took place on a Saturday. So, my company is really cool. They're like, "Hey, this is no problem. We're going to give you a flex day." I said, "Okay, awesome. We got a race coming up. It'd be nice to have a Monday off after the race. I'm going to take it the Monday after the race." That was this past Monday. And I said, my buddy texted me. He's like, "Hey, man, are we still good to go to the con?" I was like, when is it? He's like, "It's Thursday and Friday." I'm like, "Oh, damn. Let me go double check." So I go dig back through my stuff, find out I sent the time off request in December, but it got lost in the Christmas shuffle. So I text my boss real quick. I was like, "Hey, about that day off, I actually need 2, but I'll trade you." So I was able to sweeten the pot. I basically gave up my flex day to go get the time off I originally requested because that's kind of late in the schedule. Got that off Thursday, Friday, today, and it was originally supposed to be tomorrow, but I got stuff I got to take care of tomorrow. And it was just like board games all day from like 8 in the morning until I usually ended up leaving at like 9 or 10 at night. He stayed till like 4 a.m. last night. And it was an amazing time. We played a really, really cool one. Hold on, let me see if I can find a picture of it. This one was legit one of my favorites in there. Hang on, where is it? Here, let me see if I can find it. LA1 board game. So this is like, oh, they had a Kickstarter. Nice. The Kickstarter's done. The game's already funded. But yeah, this game is, it's like a, how would you describe this? If you ever played Arkham Horror. Hey, Potion, what's up, dude? If you ever played, there's a board game called Arkham Horror where you have the map here, you're playing detectives, you're going around. It's like a little bit more streamlined version of that game. You're just trying to solve puzzles, and it's like almost episodic, where like it carries on, and what you do in one carries on to the other. It's very cool. No, this makes Clue look like a little girl. That's what it does. And so, but it was really fun. So we played that. We played, what was the other one that was really cool? Big Book of Madness. This one is one that looks like it should be super easy to understand. I mean, look at that art. It looks like, hey, yeah, this should be a pretty fast one, right? We got worked by this. It was a really fun board game. And there were others in there. Those are just the 2 that I had the most fun with that I'm probably going to buy, is Big Book of Madness and LA1. Because I'm a terrible Ameritrash or cyberpunker. So, yeah, so we had a lot of fun with those. Let's see. Oh, you requested to go the day before a conference and they come. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know about that. That's killer, dude. But yeah, Potion, that LA1 game is kind of like a dungeon crawler. All right, I have other good news.
I'll buy you a pewter for Christmas.
Yes, because my mama loves me. So I got other good news. So, oh, you were already on paternity leave, so you had that time off. Gotcha. So, all right, hang on. I'll check it. Hang on. Let me look at that. What is this? Oh, the NVIDIA Jetson Nano Super Developer Kit. That is in Lake Canada. Hang on, let me bring that up real quick before we dive back into Dracarys here. $350. What do these have in them? Because I looked at these a while ago. 67 tops of AI performance improvement over predecessor. Hold on, I need something to reference this to. RTX 3060 tops. Let's see. I need a value to compare this to. Okay, so the 3060 that I have in my computer is 101.9 integer 8 tops, right? This one is, well, they don't specify which one, but it's 67. So, yeah, that's kind of cool, except it's a small form factor, but honestly, RTX 3060. For not that much more, you could basically double it and put a 3060 in there. Oh, they're making 6 gig versions of that card? That is gross. Ugh. Alright. Anyway, so, going back to Dracarys. I know it's a whole computer. Yeah. Little tiny micro mini computer. So, what happened? Another thing, catch y'all up with. So, because SQL Map is so ungodly slow, I went through and did a little more checking, a little more research, a little more investigating. And what I had it do is I went through and I found that there's another table in this database for GLPI. And it's the GLPI auth LDAP-S. So this table right here, this guy, this one right here actually contains all the data from how the LDAP configuration and integration is set up. Because you have to remember, this machine has to have a way to talk to the database. So hold on, let's bring up the whiteboard of knowledge here. Wait, hold on, let me clear this out. Solid, there we go. Let's bring up the whiteboard of knowledge. So this is how this lab should kind of diagram out a bit. So we've got, I'll put it over here. So we've got DC01, right? There's our DC. And then we've got our Linux server, LX01, right? And then LX01 is running a database right here, right? Big old fat database. This database has information on it that is serving GLPI. So this is serving the GLPI information, right? Well, GLPI is connected over to DC01, which means if it's talking to it and it's going to be verifying stuff, it's going to be connected over LDAP. And the important thing is, it has to have credentials. So there's only two options of what it could have here. It could have an NTLM hash stored in there, or it could have the plain password stored in there. Now, there's another option with this too. So if they're using NTLM, they could have these also. There's let me do it like this. So there's two other options for these two. They could either be in plain text, or they could be encrypted. But it has to be reversible encryption. It cannot be a hash in here, right? So we can either read the plain NTLM or the plain password. One of the two. It's going to keep in there. And so if it's encrypted, it's got to be reversible in some way. EA's bricking PCs? What the hell? Oh, I've seen the Spark guy. I would love to have one of those if I could get my hand on it. Oh no, what is this? Riot is bricking computers? Hold on. Yeah, this is interesting. What is this? Congrats to the owners of brand new $6,000 paperweights. What? This is from Riot Games? Today's Vanguard anti-cheat update blocked the majority of DMA firmwares using SATA and NVMe. So Vanguard suddenly triggered an IOMMU restart warning in-game, after which the DMA firmware becomes completely unusable, even without the game running or after uninstalling Vanguard. Only fix is a full OS reinstall. So it's using IOMMU to create read blocks, which permanently breaks the majority of almost all SATA and NVMe firmwares once triggered. Even the advanced H2 board got affected. So it's not bricking them, but it's corrupting the crap out of them. They did brick a few? No way. Hang on, let me look at something real quick. I want to see what Grok's quick update here is. So Vanguard's update targets hardware cheats, like DMAs, SATAs, NVMEs. Cheaters use directly read and write Valorant's memory outside of the game. Yeah, so what they're using is they're actually using hardware that attaches to the motherboard. When it does that, then it has direct memory access, DMA. That's what this is. So once you have direct memory access, you can read and write to it. So that's how they're affecting the in-game memory on the system. So rather than running a process in your operating system, they've got a secondary computer plugged in with direct memory access to your computer. So they're literally having an entirely separate secondary dedicated cheating computer added to it. So this update forces an IOMMU security check that bricks the cheat firmware. So it stops working even after closing or uninstalling Vanguard. Many users need a full Windows reinstall to recover. Riot did it to kill a major cheating method and keep matches fair. Okay. So you break the ability to spin up VMs on systems of people who don't cheat. So they're actually, it permanently breaks the majority of almost all SATA and NVMe firmwares. Oh no. H2's not working on Valorant after the VKG update. Well, so Riot came in and said, congrats to the owners of the brand new $6,000 paperweights. Are people paying $6,000 for these hardware cheating systems? Full blue screens and whatnot, and no boot ups. Oh, hold on. So Riot actually came back with a reply to this. That escalated quickly, you think? So there's been a wave of claims by cheaters about Vanguard bricking their PCs. So let's clear that up. Vanguard does not damage hardware or disable your devices. The photos we posted in the picture of cheat hardware devices that are sold explicitly for cheating in Valorant. Who the hell is going to pay $6,000 to cheat in Valorant? No way that's the right price. So through our latest update, Vanguard now makes those devices worthless for Valve, but does not in any way brick PCs or PC components or PC software. Well, yeah, because if you're running Vanguard on the machine and you're blocking the firmware that DMA device is using, but that DMA device is pretending to be firmware for something else, that makes sense. This is why I don't run Windows anymore, right? So, oh yeah, if they're doing it in Linux too, that makes sense. I didn't know you could even run Valorant in Linux. So this functionality only applies on systems attempting to use DMA cheat devices, and players who are not using DMA based are not affected. That's what I was wondering, like, are they really You casually say we're not bricking anything while leaving out the people who are having to nuke their entire OS just to get up and running again. I had to wipe mine. I lost my AI girlfriend I spent 7 years building. I carefully organized and tagged over $100,000 worth of important hentai to train her. Oh, man. That's griefing. So it sounds like what's happening is, because it's messing up those firmwares, it's basically causing interrupt issues in there. Relatable. Ew, woo. It's more like, ooh, woo. I lost my girl. Oh, man. That's pretty funny. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. Let me come back over to here. So, let me catch y'all up on what I did on to get the foothold into Dracarys. So, rolling this back before you distracted me with Riot bricking PCs. Where is that? Where'd my paint go? There we go. All right. So we've got server 01 sitting down here somewhere. We're not worried about that. So Linux 1 is connected with a database. So there's our DB. And that database is supporting GLPI, which means if GLPI is talking to the domain controller, it has to be using LDAP and it's got to have LDAP credentials. That's the biggie right here. So there's two options. It could either have a stored computed NTLM hash, which is unsalted and basically reusable as if it was the password, or it could have the clear text password. But there's a second layer to that. They could be applying some kind of reversible encryption, something like AES 256, something that's symmetric, right? It could be asymmetric anyway, but something that is reversible encryption. It's not a hash. Hashing won't work in this situation. So it could either be stored in plain text or it could be stored encrypted. So now that you know that, what I found out through a little bit more digging is that GLPI has this guy right meow. So this GLPI underscore off LDAPs table stores all that information. So if I come down here, I've seen the Spark guy. I tried really hard to get my company to buy me one, but they were actually on board with it, but they couldn't make it work with the IRS portion of everything. So yeah, screw you, IRS. Thanks a lot. Anyway, so here's what happened. I go through and I said, okay, here's our SQL request. Here's our SQL request, where the blind injection is, our database, our table, dump everything. So after it goes through and it finds it, it takes its sweet time, comes through, and this hold on, let me show you how long this took and why I did not do this on stream. I started this command at 12:58 and 39 seconds. Like I think this was in the afternoon. And it went for, I think, an hour, almost 1 hour, to dump out this little bit of data here, right? Just to go dump the headers column and then one entry in here. But let's see what we got in here. We can see this looks promising because we see an LDAP-S connection to Balerion.Dracarys.lab. And this is probably the entry for it, the entry name for it. I don't know how the fields line up. Hang on, let me see. So ID, host, use DN. I don't know why it's set up like that. But I mean, here, this should be the DN, right? Oh, no, it's name. Here we go. Name, port, base DN. So there's the base DN. Root DN. So this tells us the credentials that we're using. So Sunfire here, that is the user credentials that we're using. So if we go through and we parse this out, here is where the password should be. So that's obviously probably not in clear text. So tested it out. Sure enough, that was not the password. So did a little more checking right here. This was just me like awking through it, figuring it out, trying to see like where everything was. Hold on, I think I got it. Let's see. Yeah, it's somewhere in here. But after I went through and got this, checked it, it's sure enough, it's not a pure base 64 in here. Actually, it is, but it's base 64 represented as encrypted in here. So after we get all this, basically, come down. Now I gotta bring it down here. Hang on. There you go. Yeah. So what we did is went through, and I actually had Claude go through and do this, but build a decryption routine for it because GLPI is open source. Build a decryption routine for the PHP in here. So it took a little bit of iterations going through it. After it got done, we were then able... Hey, Gumby, what's up, dude? Oh, wait, I'm missing something. So hang on. Let's look at this real quick. Let's vim decrypt 2. So what this is doing is, I told it what the file name is, and here's this. So this GLPI crypt key is the key in here. So there was... Oh, what was that file called? Hang on. Let me find it. Stand by. Sorry for the flashbang. Let's see. Downloads. Let me just minimize that. There we go. Because the entire thing was exposed, we were actually able to get the config that had it. Now, where was it? I got it in here somewhere. Was that it? Hang on, let me check something real quick here. Where did I get that file from? Hang on, I'm checking some notes real quick. Because what had happened was it was exposed onto the server, so we're able to go through and grab it directly. Where the heck was that? Nah, hang on one second. Dang it, I can't remember where it was. I don't think that was the file. Because here's what happens. So we get the file contents of that GLPI crypt.key in here, and I don't know if I can just read that out. Let me see. GLPI crypt.key. Well, no, so it's just the data right there. So it was in here already. We were able to go through and download it. I'll go through the notes and I'll find it again. I'm actually probably going to do like a full walkthrough video of it because I think it's pretty fun. I prefer the term chicken lover, Gumby, just so you know. And so we're still working on Dracarys, dude. Yep, and so I've got the initial foothold in there now. So to walk it back a little bit, what happened was... So we were able to do this. We got the credentials from here. They were not plain, they were encrypted, and we got that through SQL map. So we just did a very long exclusive, time-based blind SQL injection. We extracted it, but there was another file that GLPI was serving, and damn it, this is gonna bug me. What was that file called? What is this file? Hang on. It's something in GLPI. I just don't remember what it was. There it is. Okay. I found it in my notes up here. Hang on. Yeah. So here in the server, I was just able to come over to this config directory is exposed, but we can't list what's in it. However, there is a GLPI GLPI crypt.key in here. So this config directory was exposed. So there's actually two issues kind of happening here. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, it's not .config, it's .key. There we go. .key. There we go. So this GLPI crypt right here because the entire config directory was exposed, we were able to just download it instantly. So that key value in there is just a byte array, right? If we go through and let's do this, let's hex dump it. I didn't do that. Okay, hex dump glpi crypt.key right here. There's nothing really printable about it. A couple of random characters you see in here. So this is randomized data. So this is actually byte level encryption key happening. So with that, this is the part that I actually went through and had Claude go spin up for me was, okay, cool. We've got the key. We've got the base 64 encrypted value for the password. Go through and basically make a decryption routine. It did it. Since it's in PHP already, that's what it did. Comes through, brings it down. And then once that's done, bam, we got the key and notice that it's working. So boop, just like that. So we now have our initial foothold over into the domain. So yeah, awesome. So this one wasn't the NTLM hash gubby. This was a plain text password, but it was encrypted using, what was that? Sodium Crypt ADX Cha-Cha 20 Poly 1305 ETF in bytes. So this is what it was using in here. So that's the encryption routine that it's using, but it's symmetric encryption, meaning the same key can encrypt and decrypt data. So once we got the encryption key from downloading it from the exposed config file, then we were able to go through, decode it, get the password. Boop. So now I stopped right there. I was like, okay, cool. I wanted to document that so I could show everyone and we could get it up and running here. Let's see. Let me check something real fast. You guys were posting stuff there. There we go. Asus ultra small AI computer. Oh no, what is this? Wait, this is a Spark. Yeah. This is just the Asus version of the Spark, right? So like, for example, you have the different manufacturers of the RTX cards. Same thing here. There's the official Spark from NVIDIA, but this is just Asus's kind of twist on it. It's still using pretty much the exact same guts in there. But yeah, so no, the problem with this is I'm given a budget every year for professional development. My professional development budget is not much more, but it is enough to cover the cost of this server. So I was asking him, I was like, hey, since I'm doing so much work on AI and testing things and building things, could I potentially get one of these? And they were all for it. However, the way the IRS structures professional development, you can't use it for hardware. So that was the bummer. Otherwise, I would have totally had one. Hey, Bobby, what's up, dude? How did you determine the crypt key was exposed? Did you enumerate the path with fuzz method? No, once I knew kind of where everything was, I just looked up where it was, and then I just tried it, and I got it. Yeah, it'd been really cool to have one because there's some stuff I wanted to test with it, but oh well. So, all right, so now that we have this guy running here, we need to get our data over into kind of the... Shut up, baby, I know it. Hey, Cypher, what's up, dude? So the first thing I want to do now is let's go take a dump of the Active Directory and go put it over into Bloodhound. That would be the first thing I'd want to do. So I got to see, because I've always... I don't know if I've used, what is it? Is it PyHound? Is that the name of it? Gosh, I've always used the Windows version, or I've done it through Boss. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Let's see. Python Bloodhound Ingester. Yeah, there we go. There's Dirkjown's Bloodhound.py. Last updated 7 months ago. I think we'll be able to... Let me just look at something real quick. Pi Project, Tommel. Let me look at this real quick. That doesn't set it up. Yeah. Hey, Ford. Yes, we're going to be using Bloodhound CE. But let's go... I tell you what, let's go pull that up. Because what we're going to have is... We're going to need... Ooh, is Bloodhound running right now? I think it is. I don't remember where it's running, though. Let me see. Docker PS. Nope. I had it right the first time. Wait, do I have it running? Yeah, there's Bloodhound. Where's it mounted to? It is currently listing on 8080. So let me go pull that up. 127.180.80. Oh, I had it listening on 180.80. Yeah, log me in. So to get the data into Bloodhound, Bloodhound does not grab data in itself. There's two sections here. There's an ingest, there's a data gatherer, right? Which is usually Sharphound, which is written in C#, so not very easy to run over on Linux. Or you can use the Bloodhound.py from Dirkjown. So if we come over here, we have the collectors, right? We have Sharphound and AzureHound. However, those are both written for Windows. So we have two options. We could either go spin up a Windows box into the lab and use that as an attack box, or we can try and use Bloodhound.py. Well, so what's going on here, dude? So this guy is threatening legal action against me for not open sourcing a project that I took inspiration from a lot of projects and AI and personal research. They're saying because I had similar modules and they're releasing their client under GNU GPL v3 license, that they will do something about it, but don't even think that they're allowed to do so much. The code was changed and modified or merged, searched, whatever. So that's only going to become an issue if you're trying to publish the code as something that you wrote independently, in which case a lot of times the licenses say you have to give attribution to the original source code, or if you're trying to sell it. If it's something that you are personally using and you're not releasing the code, who cares? That's going to be a massive waste of their money. Because they're the ones that are going to have to go spend money for lawyers to try to take you to court to say, okay, yeah, cool. Now you have to put your comment that says you used our code in your code that nobody's ever going to see the light of day of. I think that would be the legal definition of a moot point. Let's see here. All right, let me go get Bloodhound.py set up real quick. Let me check something. I think I can do this through UV in here. It's closed source, but it's free and it's personal use. And I released it not open source. Okay, so if you're releasing the code, though, that's the part that they're going to get upset about. If it is just for you personally, when I say personal use, I don't mean like the difference between like a personal copy and a business copy. I mean, if it is a tool that you wrote for you to use and only for you to use and keep, and maybe one friend or something, not something that is meant for like public distribution, even if it's personal for each of them to use, that's what they're getting upset about. But also, it would still be probably a pretty big waste of their time to try and time and money being the big one, because they're going to have to pay a lawyer, and lawyers aren't cheap. I don't know anybody who's going to want to have to go spend $200 an hour to go basically send you a legal notice because they're going to bill them at least an hour for that. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, so one of the things that, and I don't remember which license it is, Potion, but if you're working on software and there's certain licenses that say if you create a derivative work of this, doesn't matter how much you change it a ton, you change it just a tiny bit, you have to go through and open source it. So if you've ever saw, what was that? The old Linksys routers. The ones that were using the WRT firmwares, right? Those, because of the way it was done, because of how they were done, they had to go through and they had to open source the entire firmware set. So after they did that, people were able to take that firmware and modify it and make a whole slew of new firmwares that could do basically whatever you wanted to on those little Linksys old routers. So it was pretty sick. And so but now that was also a different story. That was Linksys doing it. Big company, mass distribution, for profit, right? You're distributing a Minecraft client that's free. I mean, who really cares? Hey, Robo, what's up, dude? Dude, I had a really great weekend. I was over at the Board Game Geek convention for the last 3 days and just having a great time. Just playing board games for like 12 hours a day. Dude, Potion, if he's that age, he doesn't even have the money to get a lawyer. And plus, you're not even in that country, are you? Carefully, that's how. Hang on, I'm trying to check something real quick, and this system is not working. There we go. I want to see if I can install Bloodhound with UV. Install bloodhound.py with UV. I think there is a way I could do it. Yeah, I believe I can do it this way. Because then what we could do is we could use that as the ingester in here. Good old Dark John. There we go. Is this the one I want? Bloodhound CE Python? Yeah, I believe this is the one that we want. Here we go. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Okay. So what we want to do is, let's tell it what the domain is. The domain is... Hold on. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I don't think I documented this. Here we go. Let me make sure I put this over in the notes real quick. I did not. So hold on. Let's grab a copy of all of this real quick. So we decrypted the password. Copy that. There we go. So now we've got a set of credentials in here. So let's make a new file here. We'll call this threads. Let's blow this up. All right, so this was for Sunfire. And there's the password right there. Hey, Peaches. And then let's go ahead and save this real quick here. Home. Dracarys. Threads.txt. There we go. All right, so our domain is this right here, dracarys.lab. Copy. So let's put in our domain here. So we do want to have our domain. I think we also want to give it the DC IP. Yeah, I think I do want to do that. Hang on. Cat Etsy host real fast. Because I believe it's this one. Yeah, Valerian. There we go. So let's see what else we need here. DC. I think we can just give it the IP address here. And then we'll tell it to make a zip file of everything. Anything else we need? Connection method. Let's see. We want to do DC only in here. So that's one more thing we want to do. I think that's TAC C. Yeah. TAC C, DC only. I think that'll work. Oh, I think it wants it to be exact. DC only. All right, hang on. Well, let's go get this real quick. All right, what don't you like? Handles, what's up, dude? He's in a different country. Yeah, you're good, Potion. Don't stress over it. Yeah. All right, guy. Thanks for stopping in, dude. Appreciate it, man. You have a wonderful night. All right. Why is the DC only running here? Hang on. Oh, I think it doesn't like the order of the operations here. Let's do that. Because then we want to tell it zip everything together. Nope, didn't like that. Oh, it wants the host name for... Okay, that's what it wants. It's not. It's expecting a host name, not an IP address. Ah! I backgrounded it. Let's see. That's fine. There we go. Okay, now what do you want? We attack DC. Attack D. What am I missing here?
H Handles cheered 100 bits and says, I was going to say notice me, senpai. However, by the time I remembered what the bit chat command was, you noticed me.
Notice me, senpai. Oh, that's funny. How you been doing, man? I hope everything's been going really well for you. Sounds like you got some cool projects in the work. I'm very sorry I have not been keeping up with it. I'm really glad to hear that, dude. You have the demo? Nice. Sweet. Yes, I want to check it out. Default is all previously. Let's see. Okay, so here's the default groups. We want to do DC only, which is don't do any computer collections. All right, hold on. Let me check something real quick here. So what order is this supposed to come in? Oh, it wants like the collection method first. It wants them in this order, which is absolutely terabad. All right, let's do taxi, DC only, and then the domain. So then it was tac D, tac DC, domain controller, zip. All right, let me try that. Why do you hate me? What am I doing here? Shut up, baby. I know it. Let me see. So we got collection method. We got domain. You know what I didn't do? I didn't give it a username and password because I am the smarts. That's what I am. All right. Tag U, tag P. I am the smarts. I think that's probably why it was failing. It's like, hey, dummy, I don't know who you are. Let's see. Copy that. Ah! Bright light. There we go. And then let me grab the password. All right, I think that will work now. Or not. Why do you do this to me?
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Okay, Handles. I will check it out, dude. It looks like it would be pretty cool. Hey, Chris, what's up, dude? All right, now what is it doing? Why do you hate me? Self LDAP extend. Why is it doing that? Well, let's go read the warning here. We got, all right, so info. Could not find a global catalog server, assuming it's the primary DC. Info, got a TGT for the user. Warning, failed to get Kerberos TGT. Falling back to NTLM auth. Error, Kerberos session. Clock skew too great. Ah! So what's happening here is our clock is not set correctly by the domain controller. So what we need to do is, because these Kerberos tickets have a time to live on them, right? If our skew is too high, it's not going to work. Damn it. All right, hang on. Let me search for how to do that real quick. What lab is this? Oh, this is the new Game of Active Directory challenge lab that Mayfly put out. Hold on. I think it's in my other window. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Yeah, let me drop this in the chat. But instead of something like Game of Active Directory, damn, Handles. That's a 26 shell streak, bro. Damn. That's amazing. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But yeah. So what Dracarys is it's instead of Game of Active Directory, right, which was basically damn vulnerable AD, this is a challenge lab version of it. So he's like, hey, this is how this one is meant to not be a walk in the park. It's meant to be a challenge to it. Don't thank me, it was on auto. I'm still gonna thank you. Dude, because basically you have been subscribed to the stream since the stream first got monetized, which I cannot believe that was 26 months ago. That's wild. Hey, Bog. Yeah, it does. I'm just trying to remember how to sync it up real fast. Hey, Robo, thank you for the subscription, man. I'm a good bro. I got a ways to go to catch up. I know, right? Let's see. Yeah, so let's go get the time unscrewed up. Let's see. Can we just do NTP update to the domain controller? I don't know if I even have NTP update. No, I don't. Let's see. Do I just have NTP? I don't. Yeah, I could go check on the domain controller what the actual time it says is. What's weird is, oh, I think I know what the issue is. You know what? So this is showing 22:15. Let me actually go connect over to the DC real quick. Hang on. Let me do that. Let me rename this. GOAD DRACARYS. And then let me do something real quick. Let's add. Oh wait, actually I can't go in that way. Hang on, I forgot what we were doing here. Let me go to the GOAD lab. Let's go to DC01. I'll just pull up the terminal for it real quick. Console. I think this will auto log me in. Okay. No, this actually is showing the same time. That's wild. They're both showing 9:15. Okay. So the clock skew shouldn't be the issue. That's weird. Hang on, let me try. I don't think I did this in this one. Hang on. Let's see. Oh no, what am I doing here? Ah, stop. I'm hitting all the wrong command keys. There we go. Let's see. NetExec. I know it was in here. NXC. Nope, that wasn't it. NetExec. Where the... I know you're in here. But did I do it down here? Was that it? Oh, here it is. Yeah. See, so I know this is working. Let me see something real quick. Let's see. NetExec. Well, that was checking LDAP. Love you, brother. God bless. Keep doing what you're doing. We got to chill in Discord voice sometime. I know, man. Dude, I'm sorry. I've been just crazy busy. Let's see. Chad! My man! How are you doing, dude? We still have to do that. Can't think. And so I don't know why it's saying that the time skew was too great. I'm not sure. It should have worked just good. I'm not pooping, Gumby. I'm right here. I'm literally right here. Oh, yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet, but you can't see through the green screen, which is kind of funny because it's chroma green. So you got a new gig as a red team operator. That's baller, dude. Congrats. I'll hit you up and I want you to tell me about it because that's really cool, man. Oh, I pretend to be a red team operator and then my tools are like, hey, the clock skew is too great. Wait, hold on. Doesn't NetExec have... Doesn't NetExec have a Bloodhound collector now? It does! Let's go. Let's go. Screw this. We'll just use... let's see. Bloodhound. Collection... BC only. Oh no, configuration issue. Oh no. Your configuration has Bloodhound CE enabled, but the regular Bloodhound package is installed. Modify your etc NXE comp file and follow the instructions. Poetry, remove Bloodhound CE. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I gotta get rid of the UV. Oh, thank you. No, okay. Thank you. Let me see. Oh, I gotta uninstall that. Bloodhound. Let's see. UV tool. I think it's uninstall. Crap. I broke it. Yeah. Sock was bringing me my water, and she was asking me if I wanted some ice cream. I was like, no. I cannot eat ice cream on stream. I can't, because I don't know. Yeah, let me see. I've never run into this because I've never tried to use NetExec as the Bloodhound collector. Let's see. Let's see. So your configuration has Bloodhound CE enabled, but the regular Bloodhound package is installed. So modify your NXC conf. Hold on. Let's come up here. Let's see. No, no. Undo, undo, undo. Alright, so there's... Oh, I think I need to go change it. Oh, I need to go figure out what the login was. Actually, that should all be correct, because this was the Bloodhound Community Edition. The question is, since I'm running it in Docker, is 7686 even exposed? Let's see, 7686? It is. Okay, cool. So that's being exposed properly. We're exposing ourselves. That's good. Let's see. The problem is I don't think it's the NXC configuration. I think it's... Run the following command to fix this. Poetry... Remove Bloodhound CE? I don't know if I even have Poetry installed. No, go see. I don't think we did it this way. If you install with pipex, let's see. Oh, how is this installed? All right, let's try this. Worst case scenario, we screwed up. Be sure to install the package first with pipex install netexec. See, I think we installed netexec from the system here. Yes, we're stuck in Python hell, Ford. Hold on. Let's see. Which netexec? Let me see where this damn thing is. All right, so that's in user bin. All right, hang on. Let me come down here. Let me vim this real quick. Oh, damn it. Where's this executing from? Let's see. From nxc.netexec import main. sysargv 0 sub script pyw or exe. What is this doing? Juggling in packet versions also sucks. I know, right? You're turning more and more into Bender. I love Bender. He was one of my favorite characters. It's like this is killing me. I'm just gonna make my own app search netexec because that's how we have it installed. Dude, Bogbud, popping his first shell. What's up, man? Thank you so much. Welcome in. I hope you guys are all having a really fantastic night tonight. I apologize for starting the stream a little bit late. We'll run a little bit late, but the kids have been missing me because I was at the convention. So I appreciate all of y'all coming to hang out and have fun and heckle me while I fight Python dependency hell. Funny enough, that is Dante's undocumented final level of hell. Yeah, Python dependencies. Let's see. Yeah, we had this installed, didn't we? Apt. Remove netexec. Oh, okay, fine. Yes, continue. Blow all that shit out. And now, we'll use our handy dandy reinstall script. There we go. All right, so now, let's see if that fixes it. No, it hates me. It hates me. Do I have pipex set up? I do. Okay. Remove net exec. Well, that'd be. I'm just gonna. Oh, the apt package. Okay, yeah, that's it. Pipex install netexec. Go Pipex, go. We'll just let it do its thing. So after we get netexec back up. Oh, you son of a bitch. You dirty bastard. Cannot find a version that satisfies the requirements of netexec from versions none. What's up, Peaches, Poop, and Pops? Ah! She was so funny, too, because since I've been gone all day and she's not used to that, she was, like, all pissed at me and, like, running up to me and growling, like, how dare you? You left me here with these crazy people. Alright, why the hell is Pipex not working? See, this is the frustrating part. Nobody really ever looks at. Hold on, let's not BIM that. Let's just less that real quick. Oh, that's it. That's it. We just couldn't find a. Let me try something on sudo apt purge. Let me purge everything out of there. Get rid of all that stuff. Okay. All right. Let's remove these. Auto remove. Get rid of those. Yep. Be gone. This is usually why I just use base Debian and I just go install the tools myself. There we go. I'm going to install it with UV. Go, UV, go. I'll update you on the deal for the next group trip. Nice, Chad. Yes, let me know. I might actually be able to make one. Now, Chad, we haven't got to talk in a bit, but my older son, Agent Zero, right? He is crushing it this season in the ATV races. You fuck. Oh, damn you, Python. He is crushing it. He just finished. Last weekend they had the 5th race of the season. He's at 4 first place finishes. He is dominating. And the only time he got 2nd place is because he had transmission trouble. He was only getting about 70% of his power. So he's been doing amazing. So yeah, we're on the summer break from the season right now. We'll start up the fall season in September. So there's 4 races left in the season: September, October, November, December. Yeah, dude, he's crushing it. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Because for some reason it's saying it can't resolve GitHub.com. I was like, the hell you can't. You can absolutely resolve GitHub.com. Okay. All right, let me try this again. Netexec. Run. It should take it a little bit longer here. Oh, wait, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Although, actually, hold on. This kind of worked, though. Cannot find a domain controller, specify domain or DNS name. Okay, so we need to do that. I think we can do, can we just do like tac DC and then tell it it's valerian.dracarys.lab. Unrecognized argument. Is it DC equals? I don't know what the option is here. Damn it. How do we specify with this? Let's see. Tac DC IP maybe? Let's see. Well, this is actually already collecting. This is already connecting to Balerion. I just realized that. There's Balerion right there. Here, let me clear this out real quick. So yeah, we already targeted Balerion here. So that should be the DC. Username, password, Bloodhound Collection, DC only. Why are you being a turd? Let me see here. Could not find a domain controller. Consider specifying. Hold on, so what does this error actually mean here? Well, we got it set in our Etsy host, right? Would you finish auto-completing for me, damn you? There we go. So there's Balerion right there. It's 10-4-10-10. So I'm not sure why it's not finding it in here. Let me see. Trying to see which arguments I can have for this. I just got to run help on it. No, you know what? Screw this. Hold on. Let's go over here. Let's see. NetExec, LDAP, Bloodhound. Ah! Why you do this? Ah, there we go. To configure the name server DNS timeout or use that for DNS resolution, look at the netexec command line options for DNS. Okay, let me see that. Okay, so maybe we can just specify TAC DNS server. Let's try that. So TAC DNS server, and that would be Balerion would be the DNS server. So 10-4-10-10. All right, let's try this again. Hey, there we go. And it should be really fast because it was tiny. All right. Did you not? There we go. All right. So move that to here. And then now we can go throw this up in the Bloodhounds. All right, let's see. Explorer. There we go. Let's upload a file. Where's Dracarys? There we go. Open. Upload. All right, so we got to give it a second to churn on this. I believe if we come over to, I think, administration, file ingest. So it currently says it's ingesting. We just got to give it a sec. It's going to be a little bit slow. Oh, man, I forgot to send him my Jocko. That's all right. I got water. That's all I need. That's all I really need. I had entirely too much junk food at the convention anyway. I need more water. Ingesting. Go get the Jocko. I've got the mustard. I already had the Jocko for tonight. I need to actually go to bed on time. So, oh, that was another thing we played. So at the convention, I had never played Slay the Spire. And they actually turned, since the game was pretty much almost like a board game anyway, they made a Slay the Spire board game. And it's freaking monstrous. It's huge. So we've had to play that. And we had an amazing time with it. So we were going through, having a great time. So then I was like, okay, dang it. Now I gotta go, I want to go see the game. This was the Board Game Geek convention, Chad. So, how far to the lab are we? So we have just gotten to basically the initial foothold, and now we're doing additional data collection. So we got we were able to steal the password out of the Linux server because it was misconfigured and had a SQL injection vulnerability. So after we got that out, we decrypted it. Now we actually have our first foothold into the domain. So, but yeah. Yeah, so we played the board game for Slay the Spire, but I had never actually played the game. Heard a lot of people talk about it, and I enjoyed the board game so much I went and bought the game on my Switch. So now I was stayed up till like 2 in the morning the last 2 days playing it, which is way past my normal bedtime. So, yeah. Let's see here. So let's see what we've got in here. Let's go over to Cypher. Let's just do no, Cypher. I don't want to do save queries. Let's just see what we've got here. Let me see if I can remember my query logic real quick. Match P type base. And then just return P. I just want to see what it does. Right. All right, so all we have here is the list of nodes. So we've got a whole bunch of groups in here. Actually, let's clear that cipher query up a little bit. So rather than it being a base, let's see what computer accounts we've got. So, let's see, computer, run. And so, again, we just have the 3 computers and counts, no abandoned ones in here. There's one labeled as the tier 0, which is obviously the domain controller. So let's see what other user accounts we've got in here. So rather than this, let's do user, run. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a smattering of users in here. Let's see, Dracarys Lab, that should be the actual... That's a user? Interesting. That's one we probably should go take a look at. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit in here. So what is he a member of? He's a member of the IIS users in here. So nothing special. There's not a lot of information on this account, but what is that SID there? That looks familiar. Default IIS anonymous user account. Okay, so that's nothing special in here. It just looked a little funny. Let's see. Actually, the Surfire thing we can do is look at Sunfire. So we have our foothold in Sunfire. We own this person, right? So let's see what kind of data we've got on Sunfire. Let's see. So object ID created. Let's see. SID. Password never expires. That's to be expected for this lab. What are they a member of? Let's see. So they're a member of domain users. That's fine. We have authenticated users. So nothing special in here. No special group memberships for Sunfire in here. Well, actually, Sunfire is a member of the Linux users right here. So if we go pull this out, let's see who else is in Linux users real quick. There's 2 members of that group. So Viserion is also in that group. So Sunfire is a member of this group right here. Let's see. Inbound objects control. So who has control over this group? Who is that? That's local user at Dracarys. So Drogon is in there too. So we have a couple of different groups in here. Account operators, that makes sense. Administrators, that makes sense. Enterprise ADs. All right. So Drogon's the only one that looks kind of like maybe out of sort. Actually, it's really weird that this local user at Dracarys has it. That may not be intended. That might be a holdover of the local user account that gets installed as part of the templates in here. I'm confused because this isn't MS Paint. When was this account created? 5.2? That's about the time I think we kind of spun up the lab. Yeah, I think I want to try something real quick just to see if this is what I think it is. If so, we're not going to use that as an attack path because it's an artifact of how the lab is set up. So, let me see. Let's do netexec SMB. Yeah, we'll do it to Balerion. User will be local user. And then let's do tac D. Tac D's nuts. All right. So there's the domain. And then password, I think, is just password. Oh, hold on. I'm missing a space in here. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this is so we're not going to use this account in here. This is left over because there's a built-in local user account in the lab template. So we're not going to use that. If we need to go get access to the domain controller to go verify something while we're doing it, that would be administrative access. We're not going to use it for the purposes of this lab. It's so bright. So that's when we don't. Let me see something real quick. Add to owned. No, I don't want to do that. All right, so this one we're going to just not even count. But that leaves us with administrators, and Drogon. That's because Drogon's a domain admin. So if we could find a way to get to Drogon, we could do that. So let's go see what else Sunfire has here. So does Sunfire have any outbound object controls? Oh my goodness, yes. Sunfire has many outbound object controls. Oh my goodness. My sweet mama Jesus, what is all this? Oh, no, you're not supposed to be looking at Drogon. No wonder why he had so many outbound controls. All right, no, look at Sunfire. Okay, Sunfire has no outbound control. So that means this account, as far as anybody's concerned, doesn't have anything to go through with that. Let's see. So plenty of inbounds. Don't have any outbounds in there. But let's look at what she's a member of. Domain users, Linux users. Yeah. So it's a regular user account. You just pull that out of the way. So does Linux users have any outbound permissions? It does not. So plenty of outbound. Members are Viserion. Okay. So unless there's something we can find that maybe this group is tied to a GPO in here. Let's see. Cipher queries. Let me see real quick. No, go away. What saved queries do we have? Let me see. Search for GPO. Group? Let me turn that off. I don't want it to auto run here. Maybe we've tried that. Nested groups within tier 0 high value. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Let's see. Azure. Let's see. We'll just do Active Directory. There we go. Hold on. I got to zoom this out a bit so I can read a little bit more. Do we have any CAs? I don't think there is a CA in here. Let me try that real quick, actually. Hang on. Go back. Hold on. I'm trying to go forward and backward and let it catch up to me real quick. Hang on. Close this. Cipher. There we go. CA? Oh, no. Actually, that'll be an easy way to find out if we're doing anything with Active Directory. Okay, so there's no certificate template, so the domain controller is not acting as a certificate authority. So we're not doing with that. So we're just going with regular Active Directory permissions. So one of the other things we can check is to see, does Sunfire have any kind of permissions over on the other server, right? Actually, you know what? Let's try one other thing. Can we SSH with those credentials? Let's see. Yeah, let's go try this real quick. Let's do SSH and then what was that other machine in here? I think it was 12. 10, 4, 10, 12. I think that's the Linux server. Oh wait, I don't think I can use a domain in there. Got this. Oh, and local users shouldn't work either. Hold on. I've got this all messed up. Let me get this info right here. Copy that. And then we'll come down here. All right, let's drop this in here. Let's see if maybe there's something else on the Linux server we need to get to. Okay, so Sunfire does have access to the Linux machine. So we've got some information here. We've got a Bloodhound dump. We have access over into the Linux machine. So let's go do that. Let's rename window. This will be Sunfire SSH to LX01. So let's see, Sunfire at 10.4.10.12. Actually, don't I have SSH pass in here? I don't? Okay, hold on. There you go. We'll use our handy little clipboard or shortcut alias. I gotta remember what that actually is. P. There we go. Is that how it works? Hold on. I'm trying to remember. Let's remember what the syntax is. Oh yeah, that's it. So it's just SSH pass tac p, and then let me grab the password real quick. So this will allow us to do programmatic. I don't have to keep typing in the password or copy and pasting it. It'll just be here. Oh, I'm an idiot. This has to be SSH. Because you're telling it what command to actually run. All right, there we go. So now where we're at is we've got access to DCO1 as Sunfire, right? Sunfire. And then we also have SSH access now. So that is good. So let's see what we've got on this server right now. Let's tail. So there's stuff in the bash RC. We could go look at it. Let's see. ENV. Let's see what the ENV values are here. Anything in their environment variables? Let's see. Well, they do have a KRB5 file here. Password Sunfire. Let's see what else. Where's the history file set? Let's see. That's all there is for the history file. Where's the history file, though? Usually it'd be in here. Unless he disabled it in some way that I'm not familiar with, which is private. Do you need to go outside? Do y'all hear her? She's growling at me. Hang on one sec, guys. Let me go let Peaches out. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. Come hang out. We hack stuff. It's all fun. Let's see. You never know how much. Oh, sorry. I just noticed you sent this a while ago, Bog. You never know how much access IS has, so it could be the next step. That's true. Yeah. Typically, it looks kind of weird, but it is always still worth checking out. It's not awkward that the song that just popped into my head includes the lyrics, I'm moving to the country, gonna eat me a lot of peaches. Damn it, who was that? Was that American Presidents? Was that the name of the band? Yeah, the Vim Imbo was also just newly created, Bog, like as we did this. Let's see what's in the cache file. Or the cache directory. Legal display, nothing in there. Yeah. Presidents of the United States of America. That's right. I remember that. Oh, that's such a funny song. Let's see. Let's see who else is on this box. We have local user, we have Sunfire. So from the root system here, we do have a root directory. We don't have any access to it. So there could potentially be something fun over in root. We could always go check that out. But we'll need to find some kind of way to privask on this system. I gotta get a password. Hang on. It might just be as simple as like, hey, Sunfire is not a sudoer. May not sudo on Cyrex. Rude. Can I read any of the etc sudo files in here? Let's see. Local user? Hmm? Which ones do I have read permissions to? I have read permissions on local user. I have access to that too. And this one too. And we have access to the sudoconf. So we could always go check that out. Anything special here? No, it looks like it's a default one because like everything is commented out. See that? So that's just a placeholder one. Everything starts with a hash line, so that's all it. What groups are we in? We are a member of the Linux users group. That's pretty much it. Right here. So if we come back over to good old Sunfire. If we look at like the non-standard groups over here. Do member of right here. So we have domain users. That all leads to like the typical authenticated users stuff here. Right? All the usual Ramo jams. But then this Linux users one actually is what gets us in here. So here's what I'm wondering. For Linux users in here, there's two members for this. So Viserion is in here, right? So he's another user. Maybe he's got other permissions, right? He has an outbound control one to Vagar. He can write an SPN to it. Ooh, nice. So and Vagar, I believe is, don't make me lie to you. Which one's Vagar? I don't remember. Stand by. Let's see. Yeah, Etsy host. Vagar is, oh yeah. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna go through Viserion to get here. So let's make a little note. Let's make a happy little MS Paint here. Oh, which Linux group am I in? Probably. Let's see. So yeah, we're in this group, which is domain users in here. So this machine is AD integrated into here, right? So what I'm thinking is we root this machine, we can maybe find some way to go from LX01 to Viserion. Viserion then would have permissions to write an SPN right here. Would have permissions to write an SPN over to Vagar. If we can write the SPN, gosh, what can you do with that? I haven't had to do that in forever. Let me see. Hang on. Let me blow this up real quick. Boop. So the user has the ability to write a service principal attribute onto that computer. And so what we could do with that is basically we could do like a targeted curb roast attack over to it. There's other things we can do with it. I have to go think about that one. Yeah, but that's curb roasting a machine account. That's going to be a little tricky. Does this one have any SPNs currently? Let me see. Current service principals are WASM Vagar, WSMan, term serve, restricted curb host. Oh, hang on one sec. The pills will ease the pain. Let me check something real quick, actually. Because typically, unless somebody has gone through and purposely modified the machine account password, you're never going to crack those. In all the years I've been doing this and the hundreds of thousands of Active Directory computers, I believe I've cracked 4. And 4 might even be generous of like Windows, because the password is truly, truly randomized. Yeah. I was just taking my bedtime pills. Get ready for sleepies. I cannot stay up till 2 a.m. playing Slay the Spire again. So we could do a targeted curb roast on this. Hang on, let's go look at this real quick. I think we're going to be doing something different. I don't think we're going to do a targeted curb roast. I think there's other attack primitives. I'll have to go check and see what they are that we can do when you have write SPN ability to this machine. I'm drawing a blank on them right now, but this is the way I'm thinking we're going to go. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to go like this from, let's see. So from Sunfire, right? We're going to SSH to LX01. And so this is what we have currently, right? So I'm going to write the speculative stuff over here in green. So I think what we're going to do is we're then going to do a privesc on here. So we're going to privesc on LX01. And then from there, we're going to capture Viserion. I think that's what we're going to do. And then from Viserion, we're going to, in some way, abuse that write SPN. And that right SPN abuse is then going to get us over into server 1. Server 1. I think that's the way this is going to go. So this is the speculative part. We have this right now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Bog. And thank you for reminding me of the term SPN jacking. And I've never had to do that. I know of it. I know the theory behind it. But it's one of those things like I have to go research the steps again. Because I've just never had to do it in real life. Heck, I'm not even sure I did it in a lab. So if he put that in here, that's going to be baller. I'm going to love that. Potion, don't go getting yourself in trouble, dude. Let's see. Server 01. Yeah. I think that's the way this is going to go. So let's go see if we can find ourselves a way to Privesk on this system. Hold on. What happened to my... Hey, there it is. I'm an idiot. It's already in here. Let's go check and see. We can read what's in the local user sudoers. So let's cat that. Let's see, because it's not very big. Cat Etsy sudoers d local user. Oh, so local user is a sudoer with no password requirements. Okay. What else do we have in here? We have sudo log serve d also. Let's go take a look at that real quick. See if there's anything useful in here. Oh, wait, I think we already did that and like it was all commented out. No, this is different.
Outside of that, you can't really hear anything, but inside of that, you can pretty much hear stuff.
Let's see. Yeah. No, that's not what we wanted. What else do we have access to in here? Let's see. We could go get the README. README would be interesting. We checked the sudoers.conf. We cannot actually read who the sudoers are because we're not a member of the root group. Let's see. Same thing with this Etsy sudoers. We cannot read.
Actually, we'll fill in the fundamentals which for you through your ears.
So once you steal the SPN, it allows you to intercept Kerberos traffic or bypass Kerberos delegation constraints. Yeah. Yeah, one of my buddies actually, he had a really cool one on, he wrote a blog post on doing, I think he called it ghost jacking, which is where you can abuse the SPNs of a no longer existent computer, right? So like if you had write permissions to a machine account and the computer was no longer online, right? So it's a ghost account that just exists in Active Directory. I want to say that's what he called it. I think he called it ghost jacking, which sounds like something that would result in ectoplasm all over your face. I'm just saying.
And this happens all sorts of ways, so you can have a magic.
Gross.
Continuously right pitch. Here, and I'm going to show you what this is.
Spread your wings out, cause we'll fly away. Got the stars, raining down on us. I'll take your hands and close my eyes. It's just a dream, it's just a dream.
Can't find the article, but I recently read about SPN jacking with Unicode characters that Kerberos and DNS didn't handle quite right. Yeah, that's James Forshaw's research in there. And that was, if I remember correctly, a combination of setting the SPN and... Oh, God, what was that? Yeah, that was James Forshaw's research. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Let's see. James Forshaw. SPN jacking Unicode. I think that was his. I like ghost checking. It just requires a machine that has no SPN set. Gotcha.
You also have, so if you hear a pin, but it has a hole in the middle.
Maybe I was wrong. I thought that was James Forshaw's thing. Because if I'm thinking of the one that you're talking about, Ford, I believe that was the case where you could have a specially constructed SPN, and basically you're putting a blob of data in there that, and I'm probably mixing up techniques, but that specialized blob of data would then decode to something else.
Spread your wings out, cause we'll fly away. While the stars
That's good, Potion. Let's see.
take your hands and close my eyes. It's just a dream. If you wish to wake up, sweet
Hang on one second. I'm trying to get one of my systems to work here, and it is just absolutely not working.
here on its journey to the sun.
Spatially,
You and I.
you'll see it. This one's really weird.
Hang on, let me skip this song. That one's a little bit weird. Let me see if I can find that, because I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so it uses Unicode characters in the SPN, targeted via the, yeah, it was the CRED Marshall target info to force a mismatch between the DNS resolved host and the actual Kerberos principal for relay and coercion. When was this posted? Because this is from another researcher who is super, super well known named Elad Shamir, who's like huge brain when it comes to this. Semprus. They were supposed to have been written a while ago. Here, I'm going to drop this in the chat though for anybody who wants to look at that. The main thing you need to do right now is figure out why this thing is failing hardcore. I don't get why this is thinking. How old am I? I am 42. So, if you couldn't tell by... Oh, I'm trying to think which way I gotta turn. If you couldn't tell by all the gray in the beard. Yep. So, you have a scant 7 months left to ask me all your questions about life, the universe, and everything. Because after that, this is a one-time deal. I will lose all the knowledge of life, the universe, and everything when I turn 43. Why is this thing not working? Damn you. Let me see. Here we go. Let's check and see if we've got any SUD binaries that we might be able to use. Take that and pipe it to the left real fast. Douglas Adams once said, once you're 42, you can't take it away. Right? Oh, man. I remember I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when I was in high school because I actually cheated the system. We had to write a paper for, I think it was my junior or senior English class in high school, and we were supposed to pick a prominent English author. I picked Douglas Adams and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the teacher was like, okay, that wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but it does follow the rubric that I put out, so therefore you can do it. I was like, yes! So that's what I did my senior paper on. Hey, everybody knows what 42 is. I would say that makes him prominent. I don't know why I piped that to less, because actually I needed to see that. All right. If we really wanted to be chodes about this, we could actually go dirty frag the server, but I want to see how Mayfly actually set it up. I should just go start reciting Volgon poetry. I think I'd be convicted of war crimes under the Geneva Convention, Ken, if I did that. What is 6 times 9? 42 in base 13. Hey, Peaches. Did Mama clean your paws? Hang on, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. No, come here. Oh, come here. Are your paws muddy? Oh my god. Come here. Come here. Come here. Let me see your paws. Come here. I guess they're alright. Ah, you broke my chair, Peaches. There we go. We got a lot of rain yesterday, and I was worried she was coming in with muddy paws. Let's see. We have fuse mount. I don't think he's going to do a simple SUID binary update in here, but that's what I wanted to check real fast. In the audio, that was the ultimate question, meaning Earth had an error induced when they went back in time. So one of my favorite theories about that is like why you see different renditions of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is because the ship, what's the ship called? Heart of Gold? Was that the ship? That because it changed things every time it traveled, that it wasn't always the same way like as it went forward in there. Yeah, the improbability drive. Douglas Adams swears he doesn't write jokes in base 13, or didn't. What is this binary? SSH key sign. If we could use that. So sudo, that's to be expected. Su, G password. Mount. Let me see. How do I want to privesc on this sucker? Let's see what we got over in Etsy real quick. Actually, you know what I just realized? Hang on one second. Nah, it's not what I wanted. ENB pipe rep KR KRP. There we go. So we've got these over in temp, right? What do we have over in temp here? So I can read my own. I cannot read roots. Okay, I was wondering if we might be able to use something in here. So let's see. DSRXHSH, that's our Kerberos ticket, basically. So if we go look at that, let's see, temp. 17. Oh, it's just going up as data, but that should be our file that is our Kerberos TGT in there. Are we hacking the muffins again? Hey, Austin. We're hacking dragons. There be dragons in the network. The UK radio version of Hitchhikers was pretty great. Okay. Maybe I'll go check that out and make the kids listen to it. Although I don't know if they necessarily appreciate it. Agent 07, right? He's starting to get up to the age where he might enjoy that. Let's see. Yeah, they were actually like asking me a ton of questions when I was playing Slay the Spire before bedtime, and so they were more interested in it than I thought they'd be. There's so much joking about bureaucracy in that, though, and the utter lunacy of it. I loved those books. Let me see. What else might we do in here? Let me look through SSH key sign. We could do key gen for a library load. I don't know what about key sign though. What does this do? Let me run this again. I've never seen this binary before. Oh, so key sign is something different in here. All right. That's good, Austin. You should go to that. So you keep in touch with them, because it's one of those things that after you lose somebody like that, you worry that you're never going to see the people that were more or less, 1 degree separated from them. When you get bored, look up the radio box set. Or look up the radio show, because I got it off Amazon years ago as a CD box set. Gotcha. I wonder if it's on Spotify. Just go look for that. Let's see. What else could we do in here? Can he run anything as sudo? It says we're not in the sudoers, but... Does that mean we can't run anything as sudo? I'm trying to think what we might be able to do. Let me find something real quick. I gotta remember how... I gotta remember how that's configured. Client software is SSSD. Okay, so that's what we're using. So let me, can I read the SSSD config? Let's see, so that should be in Etsy, SSSD. Permission denied. You suck. It's a, oh, so they're in Florida. I gotcha. Yeah. And depending on which part of Florida, that is very much that could be a very long trip, especially going from Austin. Because the last time I drove to Florida, up to the Panhandle, it was 12 hours. But then going all the way down to Miami, it was like 24 hours. Where's Odessa? I don't remember. Yeah, you're looking probably at like a 16-hour drive, I think, to get down there. So you could probably still do it like in one day. Let's see. So we can't read. I forget, what is execute in Linux permissions? I don't remember what the X operation is in Linux directories. Florida is long. Yeah, Florida is very long. So I could CD into the directory, I just can't list what's in there. That's what it is. Yeah. CD to etc SSSD. Yeah. But I don't have permission to log anything in there. So I can't read, I can't write from it, but I could CD into it. Let me see if I can I just reach that? SSSD.com. Okay, permission denied. Yeah, because it's read-write to root only. So I need to figure out what if... let me think about this. That's right. Florida is America's penis. It's kind of wild. Just likes to hang out there. And has a bit of a... you know... bit of a musk to it. Let me see. Is there a conf.d file in here? Let me see. Okay, so I can list the content files in there, but there's nothing in there. I have read permissions, but no write permissions in there. Okay. Oh no, Ken, what is this you're sending? Bugs Bunny cuts Florida loose. Oh, that's funny. There's the old joke in Texas, at least. It's like, hey, do you know why Texas doesn't float off into the Gulf? And it's because Oklahoma sucks. Yeah, I was just trying to remember what we could do in this. So we can CD into SSSD, but we don't have read or write permissions on the directory. So we know that the SSSD file exists. We just don't have permissions on it, right? So for the SSSD file, only root does, because root's the owner. Okay, so we can't tamper with that configuration. Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember. Is like, what did you need for that? Oklahoma sucks. Kansas and blows Texas is the joke. Oh, damn. I hadn't heard that variant of it, Robo. Let me see. What else could I do on this system? So I need to find some way to elevate on this box. Something that's not dirty frag or copy fail. I mean, we could do that pretty easily. But I want to see what his actual escalation path was in here. So we did a quick check. Sued binaries. Let's see. Let's go down the checklist real quick, just as an exercise. Let's see. Linux, Rivesk, checklist. Those are usually my two favorites, and there's no sudo permissions. Pen test everything. Let's see. Oh, God. Why would you do that? Stop it. So we already know what the operating system is. It's Ubuntu. Let's see. Actually, that's a good idea. Let's go see what processes are running on the machine. We might be able to do something fun with that. Let's see. So we've got Python 3 in here. Python did not show up as a SUID binary. If that's the case, we might be able to do something with it. I heard the weirdest sound just now. I wasn't sure if it was coming from the stream or if Sock was doing some extreme sports in the kitchen. So I'm not seeing anything super interesting in here. We got stuff running from TripTub's data. We have MySQL. Stuff running as root. That's to be expected. Yeah, she's doing extreme kitchen sports right now. That's what it sounded like. Let's see. Let's double check this real quick. Let's do a sticky bit check here. That's what I'm wondering. We might have a cron exploit in here. Yeah. I haven't had to do a cron exploit in a long time. Let's see. I think I could maybe CD into that. No, I can't see that. I don't have any permissions on that. So that's root, rewrite, execute. That's cron tab has write and execute. And then we've got sticky bit set for everyone. But on a directory, that's the, let's see. Directory owner or root can delete or rename files inside that. So nothing special there. Is there anything in shared mem? No, nothing in there. Let's see, we tried for Suet. Actually, if there's a set group binary, because of the way... Cron tab can set group, but that's just going to set it as us. If we had one that we might be able to use as... World writable files. That's going to be a huge list, isn't it? No, it actually surprisingly didn't come back with anything. I'm doing this because I don't want to go run linpiece. That's what I don't want to do. Let's see. Wait, what? Oh, wait, we have read permissions to it. I'm reading this wrong. Curve 5 comp. Let me go take a look at that real quick. Alright, that didn't tell us anything we wanted in here. Let's see. Yeah, we're not worried about that either. Trying to see what kind of stands out in here. Hijacking an auto updater? Perhaps. We already checked the pseudo conf. Let's see, for cron tab, we did not have execute, but it did have the sticky bit on there. Oh crap, what was the sticky bit one? Here we go. Damn it, I'm failing. Where is this? Cat Etsy Shadow. I really doubt it's Etsy Shadow. Plus, it wouldn't even matter because I don't think we even have a password set on this because it's passing through everything. So crontabs has the sticky bit set, right? But we don't have actual, like, execute permission on it. Right, so down here, double check that. Yeah, there's no problem with this because we don't have the sticky bit being set means that only crontab is going to have permissions to basically can write to it. Root and crontab can do that. So we can't list anything that's in there. We can't look at it. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's more in the SSSD configuration, but the only way I know to do that is looking at the config file. Let's see. History files was actually the one I was most looking at. Yeah, didn't see any .history files in there. don't think we can do that, can we? What is run parts? I'm trying to remember that. Because I'm looking at this. Report Etsy cron hourly. So that's going to be running. That's everything that's listed in root. What's in root here? I don't think we have permissions to write to root. No, we don't. So if we could drop something in root once an hour, it would go through and it would fire, but nothing for that. Let's see what else we might find in here. What is this doing? So find all those, type file with permissions, have writable, execute, ls on all those options. All right, let's go try it. I don't think anything's going to come back. Yeah, because we already kind of looked at that by hand. So run as root, but anybody can write to it. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. So cron's kind of out of there. Let me think what else we might be able to do with this. Let's do, let's see what we've got listing here. So we have some local DNS. We have 3306. That was our DNS, or not our DNS. That was our MySQL. 33060. That was also our MySQL. 80 and 443. That's Apache. We have SSH. There is this process here, talking to 389. So this process is the actual SSSD configuration talking to the domain controller on LDAP. It's using local DNS? No, it's not. It's using name server at 10.4.10.10. Wait, is that the effective permissions for this? That's what I thought. I was like, wait a second, hold on. There's no way I have read, write, execute permissions on resolve.com. It's because it's a link. And it's linking over to the system resolve. So we can read it, we can't modify it. I was like, you say, hold on. we could do some shenanigans there. Let's see. Anything else he's got in here? Metasploit modules. Alright. Not a bad list. Let me see what this guy wrote over on Le Medium. It's been so long since I had to do a good Linux privesc. So sudo tacl, we tried. You know what? I didn't try crontab. Let's go. Yeah, no crontab for Sunfire. Let's see. We have no bash history. We could run linpeas. I didn't want to run linpeas though. See what's listening. We did that. What the heck is PSPi 64? Oh, it's a Python Linux process monitor. Let me see something, actually. Dang, I wonder if we can find out. If we can find SSSD's process ID. Let's see. So what's SSSD got going on here? All right, so we've got this process running. So we have 673. This is the one I'm looking at right here. I wonder if there's anything we might be able to read from... Now that's running as root. I don't know if we can read the process memory from it. Let's go look at it real quick. Proc 775. Yeah, so all that's owned by root up here. Yeah, so we can't read the environment variables from it. I didn't think so, but worth checking. Mount info, stats, let's see what else. Would S-maps actually get us anything? Yeah, S-maps is just like the memory usage stuff in here. So nothing kind of going on in the home directory. Nothing we can see in the cron tabs. Let's see, sudo didn't work because we're not in the sudoers group. We can't really read the sudoers config. Let me double check that. Let's see. We can read sudoconf. I'm pretty sure the sudoconf was like all default. Yeah, everything there is standard. Let's see. Let me double check this because anytime I can, I like using sudoers. Yeah, we unfortunately don't have any permission to read on sudoers. Let's see. Let me double check this again real quick. So sudoers, we do not have read permissions. Logserv, I think we checked that. Sudo.conf, we don't have, there's nothing in there. Local user had like just everything. I think that's because I think that's the local user for this. Hang on, I want to try something real quick. I think it's just password. Yeah, that's okay. So local user is another red herring. It's an artifact of the library here, or that's an artifact of the image used to deploy the GOAD image. We don't want to use it. It's the built-in one for the lab image. We don't want that. So if we wanted to do some out-of-band checking so we could look at stuff, we could use that. I don't want to use that. What do we have for bash files? Bash RC, let me see. Actually, hold on. What's in the bash logout? Oh, that's just clear the screen. Let me run through this real quick. A lot of this is just very standard stuff. Check if there's a bash aliases. Bash completion. That's it. Okay. So nothing special in there. So in here, bin goes to user bin. Let's see. Let's see. In root, we didn't have any permissions in there. do have stuff in run. Maybe we could also use a snap. There's probably a snap vulnerability in this image. Possibly. I think there was a race condition in snap we might be able to use. What's in server? Nothing. So we struck out on SUID binaries, GOAD binaries, things with sticky bits, cron tabs. Let's see, what else? Not really doing a great job at reading memory in there. MySQL is running as its own user. The web server is all running as TripDup's data. What else might we want to do to have fun with this? You know what? Let's just double check some stuff real quick. Any media mounted? Nope. Anything mounted in TAC mount? Nope. Anything in opt? Let's go look in opt real quick. You know what we could do? Let me see. I think it was... Do we have an operation set in here? Let me see. Operation Chimera. No. Edit. Call this Dracarys. Update. Let's go make a payload real quick. And then we'll drop it in there. We'll have a little bit easier interface than just straight SSHing over to it. We can work over here in Zamythic. So let's start fresh with the Poseidon payload. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Actually, before we do that, we need to go make a C2 profile. Let's go over here and let's make a new one. Let's call this one Basic. Failed to update operation. Kill me, Smalls. Let's see. What was our machine IP address? I don't remember what it is. Let's see. Is it IE0? I don't remember what it is for IP. Damn you. There we go. So we're at 10.4.10.118. So copy. Let's go set up a C2 profile real quick. So we're going to come back to that on HTTP. Let's make sure we're listening on there real quick. Yep, okay, so we are listening on there. That T? Cool. Thank you. What's that look?
What was your reaction?
I don't know. I look over and all of a sudden there's a Star Wars mug in my face. Thanks, babe. Sock brought me some tea. Awesome. Let me check something real quick. Okay, that is the Mythic server in there. Okay, awesome. So, let me come back over here. So we'll set this up. We're going to be doing 80. All of this should be fine as long as we have this IP address set. So, save that. Then we'll go make a new payload. So, start fresh. And then mode, we'll do default, AMD 64, static build. And we'll take all these out. We're just going to use HTTP. We don't care about fallbacks. All those are good. Include profile. Basic. Actually, let me go back a little bit here. I forgot to change something in this. You know what? 10 seconds is fine. It'll be fine. All right. Poseidon, create. All right, so we'd like this build for just again. This is going to build a Go-based C2 implant, so it's going to take a second because it's going to be chunky. Chunky. Yummy. All right, cool. We got that. Yeah, download that. Save it. All right. So now what we'll do is we'll just SCP that over real quick. Let's exit out of here real quick. Let's see. Downloads, Poseidon, bin. And then we'll just put that into root pose idon. Bin. Let's go drop that in there real quick. And so now we should see that in here. Yep, there's Poseidon. So let's shim-mod that. And then what we'll do is we're going to no-hub that. I gotta remember what that is. I think it's just no-hub. Yeah. Poseidon. Run it in the background. There we go. And so we should see that callback here. New callback. Nice. So now we come back over here. Let's sleep it down real quick. Sleep. Yeah, sleep 0. Why not? So now if there's anything we want to run on that system, we can. It'd be good. Why is it showing the little X right here? It's not dead. Okay, hold on. How about sleep 1? Will that do you? It's lying to me. It thinks it's dead, but it's not. Let's see. So I didn't want to just run linpeas on this damn thing. It's annoying. I want to find this, I want to see if there's that. Yeah, let me see which version of Snapd we're actually running. Snap version. Let me see. Six point eight's a pretty recent kernel version. So unless we're doing something like, I don't want to do dirty frag or copy fail, like I mentioned earlier. I wonder if that's the vulnerable version of that. What was that one? It was... Oh, there was a recent one for this year for Snapd. Hang on. What was the Snapd vulnerability? Local privilege in Snapd on Linux allows local attackers to get root privileges by recreating Snap's private temp directory when the systemd temp file is configured to automatically clean up its directory. This affects these versions. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Yeah, this is very recent. I don't know if this is the intended path, but it feels more intended. Well, actually, it depends, because I think, if I remember this one correctly, the directories had to be more than like a month old. Let's see. What makes this vulnerability particularly interesting, as Qualys themselves noted, is it does not stem from a single buggy component. Instead, it emerged from the interaction of two individually secure programs. So snap confine, which is a SUID binary that builds the mount space sandbox for the snap applications, and systemd temp files, which is a root-owned daemon that periodically cleans up the stale temp files. Neither program is broken on its own, but together they create an exploit window. Nice. So yeah, this is a vulnerable race condition in here. So you enter. So a quick summary of the attack: we enter the snapd sandbox. It's like, say, something for Firefox. Snapd confine creates a temp.snap as root. Keep the temp by keeping /temp active with periodic writes, but lets the temp snap go stale. Hold on. So let's go see how old is that directory in there. So I don't see any. I see service stuff in here. Maybe I need to look in. Oh, we don't have any permissions into that. Damn. Hold on. How old is that directory, though? That's from May 11th. This one may not work because I don't know if the files are old enough to trigger them to cycle so that we can do the race condition. Let me check something real quick. So we need the snapd binary. Wait, no, that should already be a SUID binary. Hold on, let's see. User lib in temp files, the snap config. We can read that. Hold on. What's the cycle time on it? I'm not sure about this. I think that means every 7 days? Let's go look real quick. Oh, that D means the directories, it won't auto purge based on time. So that race condition might be triggerable. Let's see. You know, something we didn't check is we kind of looked at like what the... Yeah, I know, Chris. I'm going to keep going for a tiny bit longer since I started the stream late, and I felt bad because I was out having fun.
I'm back, baby.
Oh, wait, you were serious. Let me laugh even harder. Oh, Bender. I love Bender. Yeah, that's our curb TGT. I'm trying to think. I just want to double check a couple things quick. Hold on. Did we check the curb 5 config? I think we did, and it wasn't. There's our realm. Ticket left 24 hours. Yeah, so we didn't have anything in there. Actually, hang on. There's stuff in varlib for SSS. Hang on. Varlib. DB? I don't have permission to that. What can I read in here? Databases, this DB directory is locked down. Key tabs is locked down. Pipes, secrets. Yeah. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking down this column. Oh, no, stop that. I'm looking down this column to see like because we're operating in this last section here. So what can we read? We can read the GPO cache. Interesting. What's an MC? Hold on. Group, init groups, past WD. We can read all those. SID. Oh God. Oh God, stop. Stop. Why did I do that? Okay, that was suboptimal. That's what that was. That was big. What's in group though? MC group. Oh God. Oh God. Why did I? Okay. What the hell kind of file is that? Just data. Okay. They're binary formatted files. I'm not sure how they're actually formatted in there. What's in pubconf? KDC info. Curb 5 include D. What are those? Let's see. Those are all ASCII text. Cat them all. Let me see. Anything useful? No. Well, actually, here's the actual path to it. There's the shared object. Any permissions on it? No. None. Sad. Did I check groups? Yeah. Domain users, Linux users. Our primary group, I believe, was Linux, or domain users. Yeah. That's our primary group, but we also have group membership to domain users and Linux users. Yeah. Because of that space in the name, this looks like it should be 3 separate ones, but it's really 2. Domain users is the first entry, and then Linux users is the second. Well, before we go on, I guess when was that snapd? I'm trying to decide. We could use it. It's not in copy fail. He built this recently. Hang on. Let me go look at something from what Mayfly posted. I want to go down the actual path that he intended, right? So he posted this on March 8th. Okay. The vulnerability we were just looking at here. This, I believe, was published... Let me go back. This was published March 17th. I don't know if... Let me see something real quick. Hey, Code Warrior, what's up, dude? Happy Sunday, or possible, well, it should be Saturday, but Sunday depending on your time zone. All right, what I'm thinking here is this Snapd version is possibly vulnerable because of the race condition, but this was released afterwards. Same thing with Copy Fail and Dirty Frag. Yeah, we could go do those and take the cheap Chody way out. I want to try and find the one he intended for this, right? I want to find the expected path. What is a race condition? Okay, so a race condition usually falls into let me think. The one I'm trying to remember, like the one that always comes to mind is the time of check, time of use. So actually, let me see if anybody has a better diagram before I try to go like 3rd grade MS Paint this. Race condition diagram. Let me see if anybody's got a good diagram of a race condition here. You see a lot of it in signals processing. Nothing really super awesome in here. Can't you look at directories modified after May 11th to find the things he edited? Not quite, because this wasn't deployed from a VM bug. It was deployed as part of an Ansible script. So unless he built into the Ansible playbooks to go modify, like basically to stomp the timestamp into them, it's not quite going to be that. So there's multiple things that are going on here. Yeah. Normally, like if these were VMs we downloaded and installed, totally, that would work perfect. All right, hold on. I think I might be able to make this one work here. Let me see. So here's an example, right? You've got two people looking at something happening here, right? So you have person A and B both reading from a data value, right? They both read, hey, it's 17. Then they both go and increment it, right? So what happens here is this person writes 18, but then this person comes and writes 18. But they're both supposed to have permissions to write to this. So what should have come up is a 19, right? And the same thing happens whenever systems are working a lot of times in parallel. And it happens with, this is a time of check, time of use one in here. So what's happening is they checked it and then they started the write job. And as they were processing the write and increment job, someone else checked it and started their write and increment job. And so rather than both people coming in and saying, oh, hey, by the way, I need to increment this. Yeah, I need to increment it too. They both kind of fired very close to each other. And now there's a missing value in here. So instead of this being a 19, it's showing up as an 18 because they checked it, they wrote that, they checked it, and they wrote that, the same thing in here, even though they both had an increment +1, right? So whenever you're looking at race conditions for security purposes, what you're doing is you're trying to get it to commit a value, not a version control issue. It's just an issue of the order in which things are being checked versus when things are being used, right? So for example, let's say, I'm trying to think of a really good example. A lot of times you could use these race conditions in video games to clone money, right? So what would happen is you'd have someone like basically give you like a stack of gold in a game, right? And then you would go and drop the gold and then it would check to see, okay, could you drop the gold? But then you could have like some kind of an interrupt in there. I'm trying to think of a really, really good example, like a super solid concrete example. Let's see. Let me see if anybody's got a better one in here. Let me see what his diagram looks like here. Can I bring this up? Here we go. You guys and your freaking, like, never-ending headers. You're killing me. Here we go. Let me close this up. All right. So here's another idea, right? So thread 1 comes through and says, okay, what's Y doing? It's 49. Okay, we're going to return false because it wasn't. But somewhere along this other line, this other thread comes through and says, oh, hey, actually, it's 51. So when this thread came and reset it, it should have been true, right? Now, even this is really kind of ephemeral. The main idea here... Oh, let me see what Bog's got. So the system checks a condition, like, is the user authorized to access a file? Then it takes an action based on that. So attackers exploit the microscopic delay between those two steps to swap the file or alter the permissions. Pretty much, yeah. So if you can... Actually, yes, thank you, Bog, because that's perfect in here. So say, for example, you go through and a system checks is... Yeah. So a system goes through and checks, hey, do you have the... Does this file exist? Okay, this is very important. Does particular file A exist? It does exist. Okay, cool. I'm going to write to that file. And in the time it takes for it to check it and to perform the write, the attacker comes in and usually through spamming something, fires off a, like basically deletes the file and then puts in a symbolic link. So that way that file A went away and now it's replaced with link A. And that writes to something else. And now, all of a sudden, that new file gets updated with whatever that data is. And that should be a file that they have access to, right? So you could get it to dump data into that directory. But that's what you're doing, is you're trying to basically hammer the system so that way, when it checks for something, it looks good. But then before it actually fires it, you do something nefarious. That's the idea. And so and a lot of times, it's really hard to pull off race conditions, because you have to get the timing so exact on them. Let me double check something else in here real quick. Let me come back to this, since we're back from the field trip. Okay. Sudo tech L comes back, and it should just say, hey, we're not in the sudoers directory. Yeah, so we're not there. We did check that. ID comes back, we're in here. So we're not in sudoers, right? Which means we know that at least domain users and Linux users are not in the sudo. They don't have sudo rules assigned to them. So 3 things come up here. Sunfire is not a sudo. It doesn't have sudo entries. Domain users doesn't have sudo entries, and Linux users does not have sudo entries. So there's got to be something else in there for that. Hey, no problem, Chris. Dude, you know me. I'm all about the field trips. What else did we have in... Oh, let me back out of this. What else did we have in Etsy that was related to... What else did we have in here? We had the key tab file, but we cannot read that. We checked the carb5 comp. Couldn't read that. What is this? Let's see. That's in conf d. Let me just cat that out real quick. Let me see here. I was wondering, like, what it since burr allows? Oh, yeah, burp. Race conditions become easier since burp allows bundling multiple requests into a single TCP packet or utilize HTTP2 concurrent streams, forcing the target server to process them at the exact moment or brute forcing until the exact millisecond is hit. Yeah. Yep. And one of the classic ones might be... So another good one that I was trying to think about, Chris, is for a time of check, time of use. Let's say, for example, you are in some way able to submit like 1,000 transactions to your bank. And each of those is to withdraw $100. And let's say you have $101 and you're able to get them all to, like, you just fire them out. You're hammering that thing. And then you know that probably not all of them are going to get through, but the idea is to get those to kick off and pull that money out like way before you have any more, right? So you know that some of them aren't going to work, but you try to fire as many as possible to pull out more than the $100 that you have in the account, right? So you might successfully from like the ATM or transfer system is more likely. Not an ATM is not going to do it. But let's say you've got some kind of electronic fund transfer, right? Then you might be able to transfer, you know, maybe 30, 40% of them. But if you're sending off like 1,000 of them, then 30% is 300 times 100. So that's like 30,000. So even though your bank should have like overdraft blockages on it, you could probably still, you might be able to still do it. I'm going to say probably don't do that to your bank because they spend a lot of money on their security. Let's see. I think we looked at this directory and we didn't have anything in here. Yeah, we only had the read permissions in there. So from everything we've got here, there's not a whole lot going on. I don't think there's anything else I might be able to look at. For grins and giggles, did we check any other home directories? Local user and Sunfire, that's it. Network jitters could mess it up for sure, so you have to hammer it completely or use burp bundling in network jitters so it doesn't matter. Yeah. I've never used burp bundling before. That's pretty cool. The last thing I was working on inside burp was doing some stuff in WebSockets. So actually, I need to go pull out an update because I had a customized version of Socket Sleuth that I was running that allowed me to dump and save everything that was coming through in the WebSockets over to disk so I could analyze them in an AI agent. And I need to go update that because I think that was a really handy feature because Socket Sleuth is really cool, but it's really hard for reporting. All the data that Socket Sleuth gets is really ephemeral. Let me try one other thing. I spelled that wrong. That's int. I think it's past WD. Yeah. So I don't see Sunfire in here. So they don't exist as local users, which means, okay. Yeah, I was really surprised it didn't have that kind of recording capability bug, and maybe it was something I messed up during the testing. But yeah, when I went and I looked at it, I was like, it just needed some extra creature comforts for me to navigate it faster. And so I need to go pull that back up and then create a patch and submit it. Because I did it while I was customizing it while I was working on an AI agent during my last pen test, and it was talking over WebSocket, so I was getting a lot of use out of it. I was actually really sad too, because during the assessment, I found not a big security issue, but it was something that was going to be helpful to find other security issues. And so when I told them about it, they patched it. I was like, damn it. This is why I don't give you findings in the middle of the test. All right, so we got that here. Let me think. Keep your O days for at least one day, right? For this particular client, though, we give them a running detail of like everything that we do and what we find, and like very in-depth one. And so I'm not totally surprised by it. I just didn't expect them to patch it so damn fast. Crap, I just noticed the time. I do need to wrap up for now. Okay, we'll keep hammering at the Privesk. Like I said, the main thing is I'm trying to think about this. I'm willing to bet it's not going to be... I don't know, I'll have to look at it. I don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be another misconfiguration issue somewhere in here. We just haven't found it yet. AI probably recorded the call and fixed it on the fly. It wasn't even a call. Like we kept like a running log, like a detailed log of like, hey, this is what we were checking out, and here's some of the interesting information we found. And they probably just ingested the document, and then it's like, go fix, make no mistakes. That's probably what they did. All right, unfortunately, guys, I do need to wrap it up for tonight. Let's see, is anybody over on InfoSec streams? ImSec is on, but what's he doing? He's not doing security. He's over there doing some Claude codage. But Bog, I'm glad you came to stop by, man. So we're doing some kind of like lab hacker fun stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, and then Wednesday night is hacker news for the week. So up on Discord, we keep a news thread running. I'll throw a bunch of stuff in there. Everybody throws things in there, and we just try to like cover the most interesting ones through that came up for the previous week. So that'll be Wednesday night. Let's see, who can we go raid over to? Who's doing anything fun over on Twitch? By the way, guys, if y'all have any raid suggestions, please feel free to shout them out. Who's in science and tech right now? I don't think anybody's really on science and tech right now. Oh, you know what? Sid's on. Sid's on. He's working on doing some more electronics work. Yeah. We haven't raided over to Sid in a while. Raid suggestion. 1 more hour. No! Oh, Dr. Reiki crashed the buffer again. He's now got his 10th callback active. I need to go fix that. And it should say something like the username has compromised another system. They now have like 10 shells established or something like that. I'm trying to think of the wording, but on a resub, that's what it should say. I need to go fix that. I'm sorry I haven't yet. All right, guys, I do need to wrap it up there. I'm going to start off the raid over to Sid. Do me a favor, when you get over to Sid, drop a bunch of Hack the Planets and Happy Hackers in the stream. He's always doing fun electronic stuff. I will catch up with y'all tomorrow night. We'll keep working on this. We're going to figure out how to... It's probably going to be a misconfiguration issue. I'm willing to put money on it. I don't think it's a straight up exploit. I'm betting there's something in there that's misconfigured like GLPI was that we can use to then elevate and then capture Viserys's connection. I think maybe he's got something in there. So. Oh no, so every time there's like a, what is it? No, that's how many shells they pop. So Dr. Reiki has resubbed for 10 months. So he's now got 10 shells. That's the way it works. Or 10 defenses, who knows? All right, guys, I got to wrap it up there. I will catch up with y'all tomorrow night. We'll keep working on this. And I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday tomorrow. If it's already your Sunday, I hope it's going fantastic. Spend it with your friends and family. And get prepared for Monday Crushing It mode. This is recoup before the full frontal send it. And I will see y'all all tomorrow night. And I want y'all to remember one super important thing. This will be on the test. I love you. Peace.